Good morning, everybody. I hope this is working. I had a little bit of a low connection again today. I need to sort out my Wi-Fi. Anyway, I hope you will be able to tune in if you want to. If you're watching, please say good morning and where you're tuning in from. And I really hope that the strength of my connection is going to allow us to spend this precious space, this precious sacred space together this morning. So welcome to this beautiful new day. I'm a little bit later than usual, but I think there's reasons for everything. So I'm going to be connecting with probably a few more of you this morning that wouldn't usually be around, it's quite so early. So I'm going to share something out of this book with you this morning. I've had this since 1997 and it's called A Guide for the Advanced Soul, a Book of Insight by Susan Hayward. And generally what you do is you open it wherever you feel to open it. So let's see what comes through for us this morning. This is one of my favourites. Oh, morning Simon, morning Len. Oh, lovely to have you here. So every moment of your life is infinitely creative and the universe is endlessly bountiful. Just put forth a clear enough request and everything your heart desires must come to you. That is a really beautiful quote, and actually I first discovered that when I got this book in 1997, which somehow seems like a really long time ago, and I actually got it on my birthday according to this. So I'm just going to have another look for something else. Morning Susan. If you're tuning in, please say hi and where you're tuning in from. Oh wow, this is another brilliant comment, and another brilliant one. Before enlightenment, chopping wood, carrying water. After enlightenment, chopping wood, carrying water. Maybe we should discuss that quote. Oh, from Warrington, lovely Len. Hope to see you soon. This is really saying, I understand this quote now. When I used to read it many years ago, I liked it. I knew that it was speaking to me, but I didn't really understand what it meant. And before enlightenment, chopping wood, carrying water, and after enlightenment, chopping wood, carrying water. It's fundamentally everything stays the same. But at the same time there's a significant shift within that changes everything. So it's our perception of everything that shifts. Everything remains the same, but our perception of it and how we see it is completely transformed. It really is one of my favourite proverbs. It's a Zen proverb. It doesn't actually say who it's by. Oh, and then there's this one here. I think I'll share a few of these actually. They're very beautiful. Love is a space in which all other emotions can be experienced. So we are love, and everything else is a billion expressions of love. That's the way I like to see it. Morning Katie. Morning Lisa. Lovely to have you here. Morning Seb. Well, there's a new crowd of you this morning. It's lovely. This is an interesting one. I've never come across this one before in this book, and it's actually quite a long quote. When some misfortune threatens, consider seriously and deliberately what is the very worst that could possibly happen. Having looked this possible misfortune in the face, give yourself sound reasons for thinking that after all it would be not such a terrible disaster. Such reasons always exist, since at the worst, nothing that happens to oneself has any cosmic importance. When you have looked for some time steadily at the worst possibility and have said to yourself with real conviction, well, after all, that would not matter so very much, you will find that your worry diminishes to quite extraordinary extent. It may be necessary to repeat the process a few times, but in the end, if you have shirked nothing in facing the worst possible issue, you will find that your worry disappears altogether and is replaced by a kind of exhilaration. It's always the way we think about something that makes it a problem. Everything is just happening, but the way that we perceive something, whether we think that it's good or bad, or right or wrong, that's what creates our suffering and creates our worry, ultimately. Oh, hi, good morning. I wish I knew how to pronounce your name. I'll try my best. Is it Irie Sohang? Hopefully that was not too bad pronunciation. The book is called A Guide for the Advanced Soul, a book of insight, and I've had it since my birthday in 1997, which is actually quite a long time ago now. Hi, Luther. Oh, that's so sweet that you're tuning in with Ryan. Oh wow, my son's watching this morning. Great stuff. Hi, Clover. Oh, hi, Stephanie from Devon. Lovely to see you here. Great stuff. So I'm going to read one more out of here, and then I actually have the Osho Zen Tarot with me. I have so many tools. It's so lovely to share them all with you here. So there's two more that I'll read from this beautiful book. Hi, morning Candy, morning John. Great that you're here too. The divinest things, religion, love, truth, beauty, justice, seem to lose their meaning and value when we sink into lassitude and indifference. It is a signal that we should quit meditation and books and go out into the open air, into the presence of nature, into the company of flocks and children, where we may drink new health and vigour from the clear and full-flowing fountains of life, afar from the arid wastes of theory and speculation, where we may learn again that it is not by intellectual questionings, but by believing, hoping, loving and doing that man finds joy and peace. That's by John Lancaster Spalding. Expect the best. Convert problems into opportunities. Be dissatisfied with the status quo. Focus on where you want to go instead of where you are coming from. And most importantly, decide to be happy. Morning, Janet. Oh, so lovely to have you here. Knowing it's an attitude, a habit gained from daily practice and not a result or payoff. I'm going to read that one again. Expect the best. Convert problems into opportunities. Be dissatisfied with the status quo. Focus on where you want to go instead of where you are coming from. And most importantly, decide to be happy. Knowing it's an attitude, a habit gained from daily practice and not a result or a payoff. That's by Dennis Waitley, The Winner's Edge. Isn't that beautiful? I'll just remind you what that was. It's a guide for the advanced soul, a book of insight, and I do realise that you guys probably need to put a mirror in front of this to see it properly. Anyway, so now I have these, the Osho Zen Tarot. And I've decided that I'm going to share some of them with you this morning from this beautiful little meditation space that I've created here, which I'm sure you'll all get to see parts of it while I do these. I'm going to pick a card for all of us this morning. Hi John. Oh, you're in Birmingham, lovely. I may pick more than one actually. And I'll read them all to you. It says the Osho Zen Tarot, the transcendental game of Zen. I love the artwork on these. I've been around these cards for many years. I first discovered them as a teenager living in Devon, and these found their way to me. Somebody was letting them go on Facebook, and I just happened to see the post and thought, yes, I would love to reconnect with those. So the first one we have is past lives. Which is probably why we're all connected here today. And the second one we have is guilt. That's quite an intense card for Wednesday morning. Oh wow. And this one, the third one, is Thunderbolt. This speaks to me straight away of Kundalini energy. Very, very intense and creative and destructive at the same time. So I'll read those. Let's see. Good morning, Gulsin. I hope I've pronounced that right. I do apologise if I haven't. So now I have to just have a look through this and find. I think that one's it. So this card, past lives. The child can become conscious only if in his past life he has meditated enough, has created enough meditative energy to fight with the darkness that death brings. One simply is lost in an oblivion and then suddenly finds a new womb and forgets completely about the old body. There is a discontinuity. This darkness, this unconsciousness creates the discontinuity. The East has been working hard to penetrate these barriers, and 10,000 years' work has not been in vain. Everybody can penetrate to the past life of many past lives, but for that you have to go deeper into your meditation for two reasons. Unless you go deeper, you cannot find the door to another life. Secondly, you have to be deeper in meditation, because if you find the door to another life, a flood of events will come into the mind. It is hard enough even to carry one life. The hands of existence form the shape of the female genitals. The opening of the cosmic mother, revealed within are many images, faces from other times. While it might be entertaining to fantasize about famous past lives, it is just a distraction. The real point is to see and understand the karmic patterns of our lives and their roots in endless repetitive cycles that trap us in unconscious behaviour. The two rainbow lizards on either side represent knowing and not knowing. They are the guardians of the unconscious, making sure that we are prepared for a vision that might otherwise be shattering. A glimpse into the eternity of our existence is a gift, and understanding the function of karma in our lives is not something that we can grasp at will. This is a wake-up call. The events in your life are trying to show you a pattern as ancient as the journey of your own soul. That was the past lives card. from the Osho Zen Tarot. So the next one I'm going to read is guilt. Oh, you have the same cards, great. Yes. I was saying I first discovered these when I was about 16, which is actually a long time ago now. I haven't used these for such a while, so let's... Guilt. This moment, this here now, is forgotten when you start thinking in terms of achieving something. When the achieving mind arises, you lose contact with the paradise you are in. This is one of the most liberating approaches. It liberates you right now. Forget about sin and forget about saintliness. Both are stupid. Both together have destroyed all the joys of humanity. The sinner is feeling guilty, hence his joy is lost. How can you enjoy life if you are continuously feeling guilty? If you are continuously going to the church to confess that you have done this wrong and that wrong, and wrong and wrong and wrong, your whole life seems to be made of sins, how can you live joyously? It becomes impossible to delight in life. You become heavy loaded. Guilt sits on your chest like a rock. It crushes you. It does not allow you to dance. How can you dance? How can guilt dance? How can guilt sing? How can guilt love? How can guilt live? So the one who thinks he is doing something wrong is guilty, burdened, dead before death, has already entered into the grave. Guilt is one of the most destructive emotions in which we can get caught. If we have wronged another or gone against... I've just seen a black cat, by the way. If we have wronged another or gone against our own truth, then of course we will feel bad. But to let ourselves be overwhelmed with guilt is to invite a migraine. We end up surrounded by nagging clouds of self-doubt and feelings of worthlessness, to the point where we cannot see the beauty and joy that life is trying to offer us. We all long to be better people, more loving, more aware, more true to ourselves. But when we punish ourselves for our failures by feeling guilty, we can get locked into a cycle of despair and hopelessness that robs us of the clarity about ourselves and the situations we encounter. You are absolutely okay as you are, and it is absolutely natural to go astray from time to time. Just learn from it, move on, and use the lesson not to make the same mistake again. That's the card Guilt from the Osho Zen Tarot. So I'm going to read the last one now, which is Thunderbolt. And I've actually never read this card before, so this will be interesting. And it's all about meditation. What meditation does, slowly, a good shout of the master unexpectedly in the situation where the disciple was asking some question, and the master jumps and shouts or hits him or throws him out of the door or jumps over him. These methods were never known. It was purely the very creative genius of Ma Tzu, and he made many people enlightened. Sometimes it looks so hilarious. He threw a man from the window from a two-story house, and the man had to come and ask on what to meditate. And Ma Tzu not only threw him, he jumped after him, fell on him, sat on his chest, and said, "Got it?" And the poor fellow said yes, because if he said no, he may beat you or do something else. It is enough. His body is fractured, and Ma Tzu, sitting on his chest, says, "Got it?" And in fact, he got it, because it was so sudden out of the blue, he could not have conceived it. The card shows a towering being, burned, destroyed, blown apart, A man and a woman are leaping from it, not because they want to, but because they have no choice. In the background is a transparent, meditating figure representing the witnessing consciousness. You might be feeling pretty shaky right now, as if the earth is rocking beneath your feet. Your sense of security is being challenged, and the natural tendency is to try and hold on to whatever you can. But this inner earthquake is both necessary and tremendously important. If you allow it, you will emerge from the wreckage stronger and more available for new experiences. After the fire, the earth is replenished. After the storm, the air is clear. Try to watch the destruction with detachment, almost as if it were happening to somebody else. Say yes to the process by meeting it halfway. That's the card, Thunderbolt, from the Osho Zen Tarot. Very powerful. Meaning that life can change in an instant, that your awareness can change in an instant, that there's an opportunity here every moment to awaken to the truth of who you are. To chop wood and carry water. As I mentioned earlier on. And with that, we'll read one more from here. And it's a quote from the wonderful Eileen Caddy, who founded Findhorn in Scotland. Stop sitting there, with your hands folded, looking on, doing nothing. Get into action and live this full and glorious life. Now, you have to do it. So now we're going to go into a meditation for a few moments. I'm going to ring my bell to start. So if you want to get comfortable, make sure you're not going to be disturbed for a few minutes. We're going to have a few minutes silence. Breathing gently. are awakening. Each one of you is awakening to what you already are. It's not something that you can become. You are already that. It's a case of seeing it. Make that your priority. Make your awakening your priority. It is the greatest service to humanity that you can give, is your awakening. The realization of the truth of who you are. And the embodiment of that here. Because in your awakening you open the hearts and minds of others. You become like a flame, like a fire. And all who you come into contact with, you light their flame. You give power to their flame. You give love to their flame and help them to burn more brightly. And in the burning, in the process of burning away, we lose all the things that are no longer needed. And the awakening process is a destructive process. You will not be joyful 24/7. You will endeavour to be courageous and go into the shadows and work with the deepest parts of yourself to release all the conditioning and beliefs and ideas that you've had about yourself all this time, until this moment that you wake up and realise that none of that is actually true, that all the suffering has been coming from your mind, and that you and only you can set yourself free. So make a commitment to your truth, to your awakening. Make that your priority, and everything else in life will fall into place. You will be your Dharma, you will be your purpose. You won't have to look for a purpose. You will be it, you are it. Be passionate about the truth. Be consistent. Be committed. This is the biggest commitment that you can make to yourself. Seek truth wherever you go, and it will find you. All you have to do is ask. Ask sincerely from your heart. Morning, Sandra. We are awakening to love, to that which we already are, and everything that is no longer needed, is no longer love, will be lost. This is painful because so much of our identity is wrapped up in what we think and believe about ourselves and who we are and the roles that we play. We are not those roles. And it is a play. All the world is a stage. All the men and women are merely players. As Shakespeare once said. It is true. We have a part to play. Fundamentally, nothing is touching this. Fundamentally, nothing is touching the very core of your being, and never will and never has. no matter how big the worry or the stress or the perceived issue or problem. Commit yourself to the truth of who you are. Value yourself enough to wake up, to dive for the diamond that is within you, already here. You just have to see it. It's happening. I know it's happening. You wouldn't be watching this if it wasn't happening. Your gift to humanity is your awakening. Much, much love, many blessings from my little space here. If you've just tuned in, you can watch the replay when I post it, and please do say hi and where you're tuning in from. Yes, John, this is it. It's right here. Everything's here now. Morning, Sandra. I'm just reading your message. Yes, we have to release what is no longer needed, and it can be a painful process. To be truth, we have to let go of all the lies that we've been taught, that we've been conditioned into believing about ourselves, about this world, and about each other. Thank you so much for giving yourselves this space this morning. Have a beautiful day. Much, much love from my heart to yours.